Right, James, look at the 2,000 guineas on Saturday. St Nicholas Abbey, a hot favourite, only run over a mile, bred for a mile and a half. Montreal has never sired a 3-year-old Group 1 winner at a mile or a mile and 2 furlongs. Can you see him getting beat, or is it a good thing everyone thinks he is?
He's not the good thing everyone thinks he is. He's too short, 6'4". His breeding is enough for me to want to be against him.
Yeah, I agree, to be honest. I thought, he showed a turn of foot to beat stayers in the Racing Post Trophy. Now he's got to show that against horses that are much faster.
Yeah, I mean,
in general, they need to prove they can stay, obviously, but
Racing Post Trophy full of horses that have been introduced over 7 furlongs and a mile. I think only one horse had only 6 furlong 4-minute experience. So yeah, I think he's beat a load of middle distance types. So I'm looking to get him beat.
Right, okay. What do you fancy?
I think Orzan is the solid one. Question mark whether he'll stay, but everyone's saying something about attraction. He's obviously the Mark Johnson horse as well. I think Mark Johnson horses tend to almost stay further than their pedigree suggests they should. That said, his pedigree suggests he's got a good chance anyway. I think he'll love the ground, he's got a turn of foot,
Yeah, well,
likes the track.
He's 4 out of 4 at 6 furlongs, but it hardly screams sprinter, that pedigree, does it? Al Haref out of his Symphonic Mare that's won over 7 furlongs. So, and he's a far more likely stayer than Attraction was. He won the Guineas for Johnson, won the 1,000 Guineas for Johnson a few years ago.
Yeah, I think Johnson would have worked a lot on getting him relaxed, getting him to be able to cruise into a race, for 6-7 furlongs rather than the 4 or 5 he's been doing as a 2-year-old. Also trained by a man who can get it ready first time. Won it with Mr. Bailey's, didn't he, off a layoff?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Dewhurst form is very strong as well. We've got Fencing Master, who was second, and Extension, who was third. No more than nose split them. Extension had to race down the outside that day. He's got to do it again though, which might be a problem depending on where the pace is. Looks to be a fair amount of it low. But Clive Cox has been very bullish about the horse. He's just starting to hit form. He's a decent price, and what has turned out into a good duo just because they were all sort of compacted together. But I mean, Dick Turpin was 6th, and he's won the Greenham. Awesome Act was 9th and his 3rd favourite for the Kentucky Derby, and the 10th Chabal really hacked up in the Sandown Classic trial. So there's a lot of solid form there. A lot to make it more than the one horse race that people think it is, and we haven't even discussed the Hannum pair. Yeah,
I mean, my feeling is that Camphor Cliffs could be a really big danger. The visuals suggest he's a non-stayer at the trip. But Hannum just keeps saying this horse is a machine, and I trust his judgment. I think we could see him go out there, grab the rail actually from 4. If he does grab the rail, and if he travels sweetly and can carry on travelling sweetly, I think he's got a bit of a chance. I wouldn't write him off, definitely. I won't be laying him. And I think Dick Turpin could make the frame. Very likeable type, won the Greenham. I thought he looked a bit light at the end of last season. He looked a much stronger horse in the Greenham, and the way he stayed on suggests he should stay a mile. That's pretty much where I stand. How about you?
Right, okay, well the one thing you need to remember about a race like the 2,000 Guineas is it's a full field, and not all of them are going to be Group 1 horses. In fact, a lot of them won't even be Group 2 or Group 3 horses in the fullness of time. So, there are going to be a lot of disappointments here, and I always like to back something at a massive price for a place, and I'm going to do it this time with Audacity of Hope. Okay. Purely because I think he's a horse that is really going to like a strong run race, and he's going to be running through. He probably won't make the frame, but he's going to be about 40s or 50s on the exchanges just to do that. I'll have a couple of quid. He'll beat more of these than beat him, I'd have thought.
Okay, well, I mean, finally, if there's one horse that I think is going to massively outrun its odds, it's Fair Trade, who visually is at the part, but he's rated in the 80s. But David Ellsworth, I think North Stance was a huge price when it made the frame here, or finished close in the Guineas, and he's the sort of trainer to have a big priced horse go well. So I think that pretty much wraps up, doesn't it?
Right, there we go. So you're Orzan. I like Orzan. I'll go for Extension though. I'm quite a fan of Clive Cox, and he seems to have a lot of belief in the horse. There we go.
Okay.